Welcome back to the Banganator podcast, brought to you by your host, Esley Banga. Season 2, episode 20, Super Bowl 58. It was a big one. It was everything that it was hyped up to be in Vegas. You know, you had the Swifties out there. You had bettors out there. The storylines. It was awesome. Last year, Super Bowl 57, I was wearing red because of Patrick Mahomes. This year, we sit here again, Super Bowl 58. I'm repping red again for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They did it again. He low-key a Cowboys fan, Patrick Mahomes, I swear, because he kept our rivals, the Eagles and the 49ers, from being able to gloat. So for that, I got to give it up to you, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Low-key Taylor Swift, too. But I got a guest with me today. Ronnie.
My name is Ronnie Ranson.
Ranson.
Yeah, we in the building, though. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to have you on, man. We met at Boomer Jacks, you know, just kicking it, and became good friends with this dude. So just thank you for coming on.
Before we get deep, I'm gonna go ahead and just say thank you for having me on the show, bro.
Hey, no problem.
I really appreciate what you're doing. A student just trying to navigate his way through life. You have a beautiful spirit, bro, and that's a little bit about why I wanted to join you on the show.
Yeah.
Not only because of what you're doing with the show, but because of your spirit. And I think that once people identify who you really are, bro, you're going to take off. So I'll be praying for you.
Man, I appreciate that,
Yes,
man,
sir.
for real, for real. To God goes the glory, but
Yeah.
Thank you, for real. How'd you become a Cowboys fan?
So there was one team shirt in the house that I grew up in, and that was a Cowboys shirt. Everybody had one. You know, I was raised with my grandmother. I'm biracial, so on my white side, it was Cowboys fans, and on my black side, it was Cowboys fans. And so my grandmother, the first jacket that she bought me when I was a kid was the starter jacket, Cowboys jacket.
Oh, those are badass.
And so, you know, I went to church in that thing. It was white with blue, and so I wore it so much the white parts became yellow. Yeah, it got khaki on me. So yeah, that's how I became a fan of it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Who would you say is your favorite Cowboys player of all time?
Of all time, man, I may have to say Tony Romo.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, he led me through childhood watching him.
True.
I think Troy Aikman, I was too young to understand football. Tony Romo came through and he said he set the standard for the losing Cowboys team, and I think if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be used to those L's.
Yeah.
So I think Dak Prescott is genuinely a good quarterback. I just think that there needs to be some changes made. But shout out to Dak Prescott, man. He keeps it exciting. He had a phenomenal year, and I don't want to talk bad about him because of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good answer. My favorite would probably be Dez Bryant. And I grew up on Tony Romo, too. Like,
Sure.
the first year I started watching football,
Mhm.
it was the year that they lost to the Seahawks in the playoffs.
Right.
But whenever Dez came along, I was throwing up the X. You know, I was at recess, playing on the football field in high school, whatever.
Mhm.
So you told me that you know, and at least acquaintances with Patrick Mahomes, and you've met him and you took a picture with him.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. How do you know Patrick Mahomes?
There was a moment in time in 2016 where, you know, I was eating at Chili's in Lubbock, Texas, and there's two Chili's in Lubbock. You have one by Texas Tech,
Mhm.
and the other one is located by the mall, which is, you know, more west of Lubbock. And typically the athletes try to avoid going into restaurants
Mhm.
that are located by the campus because they get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So Lubbock is like shout out Lubbock, Texas, but Lubbock is like Texas Tech is the NFL for Lubbock. And
That's
so
true.
there's no professional teams in that atmosphere. So
Mhm.
Texas Tech belongs to the city, bro.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
basketball, right now basketball's killing it. We just
Yeah.
beat Kansas State
Yeah.
last night, which was
Yeah.
a big win. Shout out to them.
Okay.
But I was in Chili's. I walked in, I went to the bathroom, and Pat was in there peeing, you know, and I kind of gave him his space. Of course, like, you don't want to talk to somebody while they peeing.
Yeah.
But when he got back to the restaurant area, I noticed he was sitting directly behind me, him and Brittany. And so I called my brother up. I was like, hey, man, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all times is literally sitting in this place, and I know he's going to blow. I said, get over here. We'll take a picture with him before he bounced. So I turned around. I hollered at Pat, and he was like, yeah, man, I'll take a picture. So Brittany actually took the picture, and then my brother came in, and she took the picture of Pat and my brother. And from there, just kind of linked up on Instagram. And dude was very, very supportive. That's the thing that people, you know, I see a lot of hate that goes towards him, but you know, when he was playing at Tech, he had nothing but love.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you start blowing, the papers start coming in, and people who were once fans find a reason to hate you.
Yeah.
But all I remember about him is when I reached out to him, I messaged him on Instagram and told him about an organization that I was working with the kids
Mm-hmm.
and some of the poverty-stricken schools that I would speak in, because I was a mentor for the Lubbock Independent School District. And so I was there giving my time back. And he was actually down to go as long as it met up with his schedule. And he was like, man, I just got to see about workouts, but I'm definitely down. So I thought that was very supportive. Even though he couldn't actually get out there, he wasn't opposed to it. He was responsive. And I think that when people are responsive like that, it says a lot about their character, because he was already, you know, Big 12's top quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He could have just totally blew off the situation and
Yeah.
ignored it, left it on red. But he actually gave me the time of day to respond to that. And for that, I'll forever salute Pat.
That's what's up. That's
Yeah.
what's up. That's badass that
Mhm.
you got to take a picture with him, like, you know, before he became what
Yeah.
he is now.
Right.
And that just speaks to the humble person that he is.
Sure.
Because I feel like more money makes you more of what you already are.
Right.
So we know that he's a Christian and he's a man of God or whatever.
Right.
And you know, we not there in his personal life. We're not his friends, but you know, like it does feel genuine that he's genuinely that guy. And speaking of being a Christian, you are a Christian content creator
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram and on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
As a Christian myself, I definitely endorse that. So, you know, I'm gonna be shouting you out and reposting your stuff as well. So, tell me about that. What got you into Christian content creating? Just tell me about that.
And I used to be a radio host. I was on air for several years back in Lubbock at a station called 104.9 The Beat. And so I did a night show from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay.
And so I had a show. I interviewed celebrities. I played music. I was in the club DJing and hosting parties for several years. And so I created content that was worldly, should I say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my spirit just began to feel convicted, because sometimes when you start moving a certain way, you start feeling like it's time for a change, and that's
Yeah.
the Holy Spirit talking to you.
Yeah.
And so I stopped recording music, secular music, and I started to do Christian hip hop music
Okay.
as a way to branch out and just step out in faith. Because there's a funny story behind why, which I'll be brief on it. Kirk Franklin was in the mall one day here at the Galleria while I was selling my CDs,
Mhm.
and I ran into his daughter. I didn't even know who she was.
Mhm.
So I approached her about the idea of buying one of my CDs. And she said, well, I don't have the money, but my dad may buy it. So we went into the McDonald's on the 3rd floor, and her dad was standing there, and he gave me $20, and he said, you keep the money or take the money, keep the CD, and bless somebody else with the CD. I don't listen to that type of music, but I want you to thrive.
Okay.
And so people started coming up to him right after he did that, and they was like, can I take a picture? So I started looking at him. I was like, is that gospel singer? So I asked somebody next to me. That was before Kirk Franklin got that hair transplant, because back in the day, that boy, listen, that hairline was. And so he actually it was Kirk Franklin.
Mhm.
And then I ran into him again at the Galleria Mall close to Christmas.
Mhm.
And he said, man, if you would just step out on faith and do it for the Lord, you might be blessed. And sometimes I think that, you know, everybody expects a financial blessing. They expect monetary blessings. But when you do something that's fulfilling to your spirit, bro, it might not pay you monetarily. It just
Mhm.
feels good.
It can come in any way. Yeah.
It can come any way. So now through my music, you know, I've been able to record music. I have music on Apple, Spotify under
Mhm.
Ronnie Ranson. And then from there, I started just thinking about a podcast just because of my radio background.
Yeah.
Because that's what God does. He gives you, if you look at all the areas of life that you've ever been in and you just piece those together, sometimes that is your calling. You know, it's
Yeah.
not just one specific thing. Like podcasting, I have a radio background,
Mhm.
rap music, you know. So it's just all about understanding what God has for you and just moving forward from that.
There you go. I love it. I love it. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna definitely be reposting your stuff and then shouting you out and stuff.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. Now, let's get into this Super Bowl, Super Bowl
Mhm.
58. And obviously, since you have history with Patrick Mahomes, like you just explained, you were pulling for the Chiefs, right?
Man, the whole city of Lubbock was pulling for the Chiefs.
Yeah, you know it. And White
it.
House, Texas, where he's from too.
I'll say this, like I think I mentioned to you before, the Cowboys or the Kansas City Chiefs used to be the Dallas Texans.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people in Dallas are subject to going for the Chiefs because the Hunt family still lives here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Chiefs beat the 49ers 25-22 in overtime. It was a defensive game to start, and McCaffrey fumbled on the first drive. Both teams couldn't get in the end zone. Jake Moody for the 49ers did kick a 55-yarder, the longest in NFL Super Bowl history. The Chiefs had a chance to go down and score a touchdown, but Pacheco fumbled that. The Niners finally scored a touchdown on a Christian McCaffrey run. The Niners were up 10-0. The Chiefs defense held, drove down the field again, but had to settle for a field goal. You had that halftime performance, amazing by Usher. The Chiefs went up 13-10 with the Marquez Valdez-Scantling touchdown. And the 49ers answered with a touchdown pass to Juwan Jennings, 16-13 Niners. After trading more field goals, the fourth quarter ended after Harrison Butker sent it into overtime. So, in overtime, the 49ers went down, kicked a field goal. Mahomes' turn. The Chiefs drove down and scored a touchdown to McCole Hardman. When it comes to Mahomes and Kelsey, they win their third ring in 5 years. And, Taylor Swift, she went along for the ride too this one time. Meanwhile, Coach Kyle Shanahan blows a double-digit lead for the third time in a Super Bowl as a coordinator or a head coach. So, what's your thoughts on the game?
Man, a couple things. So they say Taylor Swift got a Super Bowl ring before Dak did. That's the story that's going on right now. Secondly, it's crazy to me because a lot of the 49ers came out after the game was over and said that they didn't even know the OT rules.
Yep.
They didn't even know the rules in overtime. So if this is true, what does that say about the coach?
Exactly. That's what I was saying. That falls on coaching right there because, first of all, I know the rules. So if I know it, then how do y'all players not know it? Y'all professionals. But Coach Kyle Shanahan, prepare your players for possible outcomes. It's crazy too because Kyle Shanahan, this is the second overtime in NFL history. Kyle Shanahan was in the only other one, the one with when he lost 28-3 to the Patriots, Super Bowl 51, 2017. So knowing that you were already in OT, this rule is newer. Come on. Yeah, you're right. You got to prepare your players.
The thing is, though, are the overtime rules in the Super Bowl different than the overtime rules throughout the season?
In the postseason is different.
Okay.
Than throughout the season.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's what every coach teaches their kids.
There you go.
P5. So when you look at the fact that he didn't equip them for that situation, he probably thought he was going to go in there and dominate from the get-go. But it's like Patrick Mahomes said, you can't ever count the Chiefs as an underdog. This is the Super Bowl, and what's crazy is everything lines up to the Chiefs.
Just a few stats. Mahomes went 34-36, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and it wasn't looking good. 130 yards rushing total for the Chiefs. Mahomes with 66 of them. So if Mahomes is your leading rusher, come on, that ain't good.
Pacheco didn't come through that game.
Yeah, he only had 50-something yards.
But McCaffrey only had about, I think, 30-something.
He had 80 rushing and 80 receiving.
Because they went OT, but I forgot. So in OT, he did put up more yards, but for the first 4 quarters, I was kind of confused on why his mileage was so short.
Yeah.
But so was Pacheco, man. They was using Pacheco as a receiver more than they was a running back.
Yeah.
So, and I think they was doing that with McCaffrey too.
Yeah, but it just speaks to especially in the first half, how defensive the game was. Like everybody was going 3 and out.
They were scared of each other.
Goal.
They were scared of each other, and I think they had each other's spots picked out because when you look at the way they was using Christian McCaffrey, this is a guy who averages 100 yards, 105 yards, 90 yards. I think against the Lions he put up, 88, 89 yards or something like that, something crazy. And these are like in the finishing moments of football. Like you done rested for 2-3 weeks. You've had time to breathe. You're supposed to be at your best, but they stopped him.
Yeah.
And this is Chiefs defense you're talking about. This ain't even a high-level defense. So they had him picked out.
Yep. And like George Kittle, only 2 receptions for 4 total yards. Like, come on, bro.
I lost to him on Prize Picks.
Damn.
Lost me some
Damn.
money.
Yeah. And then early on, Patrick Mahomes was running for his life,
Right.
like he was in Super Bowl 55
Mhm.
against the Buccaneers. So I was like, damn, O-line, is this just going to be a repeat of that? And then the 49ers are going to win because, they can't block. The Chiefs can't block, but
Well, how long can you use Patrick Mahomes' wheels? I mean, I know you paid him $500 million over a 10-year span, but at some point, you got to get some backs. You got to get some better receivers. And I think at the end, was it Rice that caught that last pass? Game-winning pass?
McCall Hardman.
Okay, cool. So, he came in clutch, but, man, there's a lot of mistakes that were taking place. Pacheco dropping balls. They should have been up at least 14 points with the mistakes they made.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, you talk about mistakes. There were several mistakes on both sides. Like I mentioned, Patrick Mahomes' interception. On the 49er side, Christian McCaffrey fumbling.
Right.
That muff punt return by the 49ers that gave the Chiefs the ball back, and then they went down and scored their first touchdown. That was low-key the turning point of the game. So a lot of mistakes. And then the most crucial mistake by the 49ers, receiving the ball first in overtime. Because it's not like before where if you receive the ball first and you go down and score a touchdown, game over.
Right.
No, each team gets a chance to possess the ball. So it's better to receive the ball second, so choose to defend first, because if you have the ball second, okay, at least you know what you need to get.
Right.
And you have a potential extra down if you need it.
Yeah.
So that's why, just like in college football, whoever wins the coin toss in overtime, they always defer to have the possession second.
Yeah, I knew when the Chiefs won that coin toss, the game was pretty much over.
It was the 49ers actually that won the coin toss.
So they wanted the ball first.
Yeah,
exactly. I knew the game was over at that point. I was like, man, you just made the biggest mistake of your life.
Yep.
Especially if you don't know overtime rules.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes, he had a text message going out in his group chat, and he had stated something about the lines of, I made the decision to win. This was last week, so he already had his mind made up that he was going to go out there and do what he had to. When's the last time you saw Patrick Mahomes put up that many yards on rushing? Well, he knew what he had to do. This is what this is what players do. This is what his dad said. Players make plays, and that's what Patrick Mahomes did. So I think right now what we're looking at with Mahomes, and I tell everybody this, I've been telling people this, of course they want to bring up Tom Brady. This is the new Jordan-LeBron debate. But greatness is greatness, man. You can't take away what Tom Brady has done. But, man, 3 Super Bowl rings at 28 years old, 2 MVPs. The endorsement deals have to trump what Tom Brady ever did. I've never seen anybody with these type of endorsement deals from Oakley to Coors Light.
And State Farm.
Adidas. The dude is making noise, and he's becoming one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever watched personally, bro.
That's a perfect segue, because I was about to ask, where does Patrick Mahomes rank amongst other QBs in the NFL, in NFL history to you?
Right now, statistically, you got to say number 1. I mean, at 28 years old, Tom Brady didn't have these stats. He's already trumped. The only thing Tom Brady had against Patrick Mahomes at 28 years old is the 2 or the 3 rings. So now that they've got the 3 rings, all the other stats, Mahomes already had him beat. So the ring was the only thing holding him back from saying, oh, well, I'm greater than you because I had 3 rings. I mean, he's got a long way to go. I don't see him surviving with the miles that he's putting on like he did in the last game. He's going to have to find a way to stay healthy and stay out the way. But, kudos to the kid, bro. He's doing his thing.
I feel you. I would say number three, because I can't give it right now to Patrick Mahomes whenever he isn't even, and this is just assuming because anything can happen in a career, assuming that he plays as long as Brady does, or, let's say at least 10 more years. It's just assuming that, he's going to keep winning rings or whatever. So, Tom Brady has those accolades. He has those Super Bowls.
He already put in the work.
Yeah, he has the most passing yards in NFL history. So, I can't just put him at 1 yet. And on top of that, you got somebody like Joe Montana, 4 Super Bowls, 4-0 in Super Bowls. I don't know how many Super Bowl MVPs he has. Maybe 3. I'm not sure.
Man.
These are either 3 or 4.
I was scared Patrick Mahomes was going to be a Dan Marino.
At first you were scared that he
I
was?
was scared he was going to be a Dan Marino.
Yeah, I didn't see that at all because like the way that he went toe to toe with the Patriots in the 2018 AFC Championship,
Right.
and they barely lost, and they really won the game, but
Yeah.
because somebody stepped off sides, that gave the ball right back to the Patriots, and in overtime they went and scored and won the game.
Mhm.
But I knew that he was going to be great from the get go. Do you think the Chiefs are a dynasty now?
Patrick Mahomes is a dynasty. Travis Kelce is a dynasty. I think the Chiefs got some work to do. They still need the foundation, the core players that are going to stick around. And right now, everybody's just trying to get traded off. Mahomes is hogging up a budget. So, yes, they have the potential to be a dynasty. 2 rings back-to-back, that's pretty impressive. 1 ring in 2019, that's pretty impressive. But they're not a Patriots team yet, and they're not a Cowboys team yet. That's what's crazy about the Cowboys. Like, they're still a dynasty team, and they ain't won a Super Bowl in years. So I think if the Chiefs, they're a trendy team right now. But if you go 5 years without winning a Super Bowl, everybody's going to start looking back at those teams that are dynasty teams, like your 49ers, your Cowboys,
Patriots,
Steelers. That's the crazy thing. Steelers are a dynasty team as well. People hold on to that fanhood forever, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They don't let go.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that there's those types of fans yet for the Chiefs. I'm just waiting to see.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. I feel like it depends on how you define dynasty.
Right.
Some people have like a set definition of like, you got to win at least, 3 and 4 years, or you got to go at least back to back or something like that. Or for me, it's winning at least 2 championships in a short amount of time, and then always being in contention, like making it to the title game, the conference title game, or championship,
Right.
whatever sport. So back to back, 3 and 5 years, 4 appearances. They've been to 6 straight AFC championship games. So to me, that's a dynasty, just the culmination of all of that.
Yeah.
And I would say that, like, how you mentioned that the Cowboys are still a dynasty. They ain't won no rings, unfortunately. So I don't consider them a dynasty. If you ain't won rings in a minute, you ain't a dynasty. But it's crazy because some people would say that the Patriots were 2 dynasties with like a hole in the middle, and I consider it to be like one giant dynasty because even though they didn't win a Super Bowl from like 2005. Or 2006 all the way until like 2014, but they were going to title games every year and they were making Super Bowls at least.
I'm going to need you to give the Cowboys their NFC champion respect. We at least made it that far now.
When?
Didn't we just win the NFC East championship?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we won the NFC East.
I think last year too, huh?
What was it last? No, last year the Eagles won.
Okay.
Yeah, because there hasn't been a repeat NFC East champion since the Eagles did it back in 2004, 2005.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, but division titles for a brand like the Cowboys, the most valuable team on earth. You
know where that dynasty come in at though?
Super Bowls is
highest
what
generating football team in America. They generate all the money, bro.
That's true. And the highest rating in the world. So
I mean, they make all the TV channels money.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to say it's a dynasty.
Agree to disagree, man. Do you think the Niners make it back to the Super Bowl?
They'll be back.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, as long as McCaffrey stays healthy and then Brock Purdy stays healthy, I think he's at home with the 49ers. I don't see him going nowhere for a couple years. I think they're probably about to up his pay, try to figure out a way to keep him. But yeah, they'll be there for a little bit, man. But you got to understand though, 49ers been stout, bro, since Crabtree.
Yeah.
That whole when they went with Crabtree and
Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, Kaepernick. And the Seahawks had Russell Wilson, and they had what's his name? The commentator.
Marshawn Lynch. Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Legend of Boom. Yeah.
So these are teams that they'll be back. Any California West Coast team typically is stout always. I don't know how they get these people to. I've always seen teams that are trash that get the first round draft picks and they become great like in 2, 3, 4 years. but something about the 49ers, something about the Seahawks, they're always teams to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just overlook them. Even if they haven't had any big first-round draft picks, they still get traded all the time that keep them stout, bro.
Yeah.
So 49ers in the last few years, I want to say they've been, to the playoffs at least over half the time.
Yeah. Last year, this year, last year, the year before that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so at least like the past 5 years, and they've been going to NFC championships all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so yeah,
They'll be back for sure, and
yeah.
I think the coach is gonna make sure they go back
Mhm.
with this mistake that he just made.
Yeah. We'll
I
see
can
though,
see it being a
because
repeat next year.
yeah, because they have a good chance because they still
Right.
have loaded roster. You know,
Right.
Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian
Mhm.
McCaffrey, Fred Warner on the defense,
Right.
leading that defense, and then Brock Purdy, he's still on his rookie contract. So at least like try to make moves while he's still cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they make it. I don't know if they make it back next year. They're actually the Vegas favorites to win the Super Bowl next year, which is crazy.
49ers?
Yeah, Yep, I saw that.
Who was
this
the Vegas
morning.
pick this year?
I don't know who was.
It wasn't
the pick
Chiefs,
this
was
year.
it?
I don't know who it was. I honestly can't tell you. But that's just crazy. But we'll see. It'll be a fun season next
For
year.
sure.
This episode of the Banganator podcast was recorded in MZ Studios. MZ Studios is a premier podcast studio located in the Ritchie Group Tower in Dallas, offering full-service audio and video podcast production. Book with MZ Studios today.
Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the Banganator's top banging moments of Super Bowl 58. At number 4, the Apple Music halftime show. Usher's halftime was up there with the greatest performances of all time. It featured Alicia Keys, which was personally my favorite, the beautiful, naturally beautiful Alicia Keys, and featured friends like Lil Jon, Ludacris, and her. Shout out to her, literally. At number 3, I got the 49ers defensive performance. 1 interception, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble. They kept the Chiefs' offense from scoring touchdowns for most of the game, but in the end, they couldn't stop them when it mattered most. Number 2, the turning point of the game. And I don't know if y'all ever seen that show, NFL Turning Point, presented by NFL Films, but I'm gonna narrate it like they used to. This week on NFL Turning Point, the Chiefs were unable to get in the end zone and only managed to score 2 field goals up until the end of the third quarter. The 49ers had the upper hand, but made a crucial mistake that led to the turning point of the game. As the 49ers got ready to receive the punt, the ball hit a 49ers player. Punt returner Ray McLeod attempted to corral the bouncing football, but Jalen Watson for the Chiefs recovered the football. This set up great field position for the Chiefs offense to score their first touchdown of the game, giving way to another Super Bowl victory. And at number 1, Patrick Mahomes' game-winning drive. That drive was comprised of 13 plays, including a clutch 4th and 1 conversion. The Chiefs sealed the deal in the end with a 3-yard touchdown pass to Mecole Hardman with a play called Hot Dog, where the receiver motions in pre-snap, then runs the route to the flats. It usually confuses the defense, and they not only did it to win last year's Super Bowl, but also this year's Super Bowl. So those are my top banging moments from Super Bowl 58. Hey, what you think of my list, bro?
I think your list is stout. I have some things in mind that made the
Okay.
Super Bowl very interesting.
Okay.
I think there was a 57-yard pass by Patrick Mahomes. Dropping that ball. I got that at number 1.
Okay,
So
okay.
who was it that received the ball? Pacheco?
I can't remember, to be honest.
I think it was Pacheco. He caught the ball 57 yards. It was like in the first quarter. That's number 1 for me.
Okay.
I think number 2 is a funny thing. Number 57 coming off the sideline,
Yeah.
tearing his Achilles tendon.
Damn. Yeah, it sucks for him, but yeah.
That was funny for me.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, I got the game-winning pass.
Mm-hmm.
And number 4, it's got social media in a rut right now. Usher hugging on Alicia Keys.
Man, yeah, everybody.
But Swiss Beats wasn't even mad.
Yeah, because it's a show, it's a performance.
Right.
Performing the song "My Boo." So
Mhm.
yeah.
They made it real.
Yeah. So yeah, appreciate your opinions on my list.
Yeah.
Looks like I have a subpar list this time.
No. Great list.
Yeah.
Great list. I just know that with the Super Bowl, you've got some really awesome data there, but there was some funny things in the bloopers, the things that you didn't really expect to go viral. Like, I think Patrick Mahomes was mic'd up whenever 57 came off the sideline and tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes like, look at that, he's hurt. He got that voice, bro. Yeah, Kermit said he was hurt.
Yeah.
Shout out to Patrick Mahomes, though, man.
Yeah.
But incredible list, bro. I agree with you. I think that from 4 to 1, if you're talking on a sports level, that's a very accurate list. I'm just being crazy.
Yeah, I like your list too, though.
Yeah.
It's comedic. I love it. All right, we're going to switch over to the secondary thing that happened over the weekend, the NFL Honors Awards. Lamar Jackson won MVP, and it was pretty much general consensus that he would win MVP by the time December got around. Offensive Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey. Offensive Rookie of the Year, C.J. Stroud. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson. And Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski. So what do you think about those awards that were handed out?
Man, I think the Coach of the Year I don't agree with. I think you got to give it to Andy. I mean, Andy is a phenomenal coach, and I'm not being biased just because of the Chiefs, but I think that if you can lead a team back-to-back to 2 Super Bowls, big shout out to you. The Christian McCaffrey Offensive Player of the Year, I agree with that one for sure.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson MVP, 100%, bro. He earned it. He did everything but win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He took the team on his back all year long. So anybody that does that is MVP in my opinion for sure.
Okay. Yeah. And what about Rookie of the Year? What you think about that?
Remind me who it was again?
C.J. Stroud.
Man, I didn't watch
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I didn't watch him too much, and so I can't really give an opinion on him. But with the other 3 for sure.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I agree with you with Lamar Jackson. Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, he deserved it. Coach of the Year. I thought it should have actually went to C.J. Stroud's head coach, DeMeco Ryan.
Okay.
Because it's a rookie head coach takes a rookie quarterback, and nobody had expectations for the Texans. Not to say that Kevin Stefanski didn't do a good job coaching, because he had 5 starting quarterbacks throughout the season. That's impressive within itself to be able to still coach up your team, keep them together, keep them playing well, and get to the playoffs.
For sure.
Yeah. So, hit a little squabble for C.J. Stroud. Yeah, shout out to everybody who won an award, and even the ones that I didn't mention. Thank y'all for watching this episode of the Banganator podcast. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and my guests. Subscribe and like on my YouTube channel. Please follow me on the Banganator podcast Instagram, and also follow me on BanganatorPod_4 on the Twitter X. And once again, Ronnie, thank you for coming on, bro.
Yes, sir. Y'all make sure y'all follow me too, man. Ronnie
Ranson.
Look up my page on YouTube. It's Ronnie Ranson 5K. That's RONNIE RANSON 5K TV. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. You heard the man. Go follow him. And say it with me.
How about them Cowboys?
The Banganator podcast is brought to you by Esley Banga, diehard fan of the Dallas Cowboys since 1997. How about them Cowboys?